What's up, everybody? It is that time again that I share pieces of me with you. Now, I gotta tell you guys, by far, the most frequently asked questions that I have been receiving, especially as of lately, it's related to twin flames, soulmates, how to attract the soulmate, how to find true love, or etc., etc. So I decided that I would take this time to explain my views, my perspective, my memories, my revelations related to the two areas. Now, I cannot explain this complex subject matter without first laying down some ground information. This is a review for some of us, but again, there are those of us who are just starting to wake up and coming into this kind of information. So I cannot explain these things without putting all of this in the right context and the right perspective. Now, for the very basic, we are all conscious. Everything is consciousness. However, everything is not aware of self. So, in order for fragments of the whole to become self aware, it had to go through different exploration, experiences, and expressions. And it's all there for us to gather and become more self aware, wiser, more evolved creators. We have participated in creating universes and planets. It may sound outrageous from your physical perspective, but it is true. We are creating galaxies and universes and planetary bodies as we speak. You may not be consciously aware of it, but that's what we do, and that's how we do. Now, as the old saying goes, so as above, so as below. The physical world is basically a temporal, artificial construct of the cosmos. When a physical female releases an egg to the womb to be fertilized to give life or to have bring forth life, sometimes the egg descends and it splits, and the egg is spherical. We are spheroid beings. I use sphere, I replace sphere in the place of spear with spirit, because in our purest form, without a light body, without a physical body, we are just like this. It's no coincidence that it's spherical in shape, circular, because when we are created from the solar system, or when Mama Universe releases her, metaphysically speaking, her eggs, and they are already conscious, okay? When she releases her eggs, sometimes those eggs, the metaphysical form of our soul or core, sometimes it splits, just like in physical life. Now, usually when there's a more than a dual split in physical reality, there's some kind of outside influence, something that's kind of going outside of nature that creates that, but that's a whole nother story. But generally speaking, the physical female can produce twins. This happens on a metaphysical level as well. When the soul, new souls are created, sometimes they're split. Now, when this happens, these souls are forever magnetically binded. Okay, what do I mean by this? Going back to the basics. Everything in reality is frequency, energy, magnetic. It's all operating with those laws in place. It's no difference, even though this is a temporal, artificial construct. There are magnetics at play here. There are magnetics between the planets, and the goal is to find ways to maintain balance. And there's a very, very important role that we all have had and continue to have in that. We are co-creators. So when we are talking about magnetics, we're talking about attraction as well. So when a physical female bring forth twins, 99.9% of the time, who's going to take on the physical life of those twins? Twin flames, beings who were created as twin souls. Twin souls are forever magnetically attached. They will always, always have experiences and will explore together. They stick together no matter what. For instance, some of the most powerful relationships in physical reality are from twin flames. For instance, interracial relationships in the 50s and 60s, at a time where the climate was just so extremely against something like that. The only beings who can tackle a an exploration or an experience like that would be twin flames, because their love and their magnetic to one another is so tremendous and so powerful that it is unbreakable. It is unbreakable. So even with the interracial couple coming together at a time when there was so much hostility and hatred towards that, twin flames weathered the storm and stuck it out, because that is their nature. They're magnetically binded together. We get too caught up on these physical forms, and I understand all of the programming that has happened throughout history. But when it's all said and done, what we're talking about and what I'm talking about when it comes to twin flames and soulmates transcend physical form. So sometimes when twin flames come together from the perspective of a limited understanding, those two beings coming together and sticking together no matter what will not make sense from the perspective of someone who has forgotten all of this. So a twin flame is determined before physical life occurs. So let me come back to this. Just like this is an artificial construct that fuels artificial intelligence, a computer. Someone programs and put different applications on this software. And we can put this software and load it into a computer, but sometimes if we are not knowledgeable on how to access all of the functionalities that is within the program, we basically limit ourselves in how it is being used. Does that mean that the software program is limited in what it does? Yes and no. It's limited in what it does based on how it's being used. But if the person who's using or accessing the software program is not fully aware of all of this function, it won't tap into those functions to bring it forth, to use it to its fullest. It's kind of like what's happening here when we incarnate in physical reality. Our software, our core, our soul has the memory of everything we've ever been and done. But when we come into physical life, into these biological computers, again, it's like the software to these biological computers. Then we have software that's already pre-installed from the ancestors. When we come into all of that, we find it very, very difficult to process it all, because of the way the brain is a processor, and yes, the brain holds memory, but when physical life is over with, all of our memories of our experiences, our expressions, our creations is transferred over into the software, our sphere, it transferred into this, and we go and we find another body or host to have another experience. When we go into another physical form or life form or light form or whatever the case may be, will we have access to all of who we programmed and experienced and expressed in our software, so to speak? Depend on the DNA of the biological host that we incarnate into. But because of this realm is so extreme in limitation, I would dare to say that this is probably a place where we have the least amount of access because of the wiring of the physical body and the brain, and the DNA structure is cut off so lowly that we won't access all of the information that we already have within our core, within our soul. Okay? So, having said that, I told you it's very layered and complex. I hope I don't miss anything. So, when we incarnate in physical life, the twin flames will find or be magnetized to their counterpart. In addition to what was just stated, this is only true for twin flames or twin souls who do not incarnate as twins in physical life. Yes, earthly twins are only one expression and biological manifestation of twin flames. Twin flames can also incarnate to be husband, wife, lovers, or very best of friends, siblings. They are different from soulmates in that when they come together, they will remain together through it all, from one lifetime experience and expression for infinity. However, soulmates come and go for a time or season, for soul development, of course, and may not always have lifetimes, explorations, and experiences within the same dimension, sphere, or school of consciousness with one another. We all have soulmates, but we all don't have twin flames, keeping the breakdown that I had just given you in perspective. So, having said that, we know that we're not all twins. So, how can we all have a twin flame? Think about that one. However, we all have soulmates. Soulmates can be many. Soulmates can be a mother, a father, a brother, sister, best friend, a lover, a wife. And soulmates come and go, and we change our roles as soulmate with each life, each experience, each exploration. But again, the difference between twin flames is that they usually come in and their experience is tied to one another for an entire lifetime, for an entire experience or exploration or expression. And soulmates generate great wisdom and information within a sphere of body, or a body of sphere. Now, speaking of sphere, just like planetary bodies, there's no coincidence that celestial bodies are spherical, and bodies, spherical or planetary bodies, are conscious living beings. And the bigger the sphere or sphere, the more wisdom, the longer they've been around, the more information, the more light, etc. Some of us have evolved and have so many experiences where we can literally split our soul or core and have multiple different incarnations simultaneously. But again, the twin flame will forever have a lifetime of experiences together. So, getting back to the attraction, what draws us to one another, it is magnetics. So we already know what and how twin flames find one another, but in terms of soulmates, we all make pre-birth agreements to come in based on the planetary alignments and based on the karma, based on what we've done, what we've experienced in the past, etc. And when we come into physical life, what happens more than often is that just like a magnet that has a bunch of dirt and a bunch of paint or anything covering it, the signals that magnetize certain things to us won't be as strong. So one of the reasons why a lot of us are having a very difficult time attracting our soulmates or the right soulmate is because we have some kind of blockage or some kind of um, it, dirt, so to speak. I guess it's the best term, best way I can describe it. We're kind of dirty. We're filled with toxins. So when we're dirty and filled with toxins, those magnetic frequencies are not going to be in the alignment, or not always going to be in a way of aligning itself to attract the soulmate that we agreed to. Either the signal is going to be too weak to draw them in, or the signal will be so distorted that it will attract something or someone to us that's not quite who we wanted, or we would like to have, or what we previously agreed to. So when it's all said and done, we are still, in a nutshell, choosing who we are attracted to based on the law of attraction. Because if we are distorted in our magnetic field for whatever reason, it's usually because of something we are doing that is unhealthy, that is going against our nature and going against the greater nature. And so when we do that, there are consequences that we have to be accounted for. But again, that is a part of the experience, and that contributes to our growth and learning, because when we disassociate from our temporal physical life, we will have the review and we will learn from this perspective, our purest perspective, what we can do to balance that and make wiser decisions and become more evolved, again, to strive for that harmonic connection, to strive for that balance, to attract that which we truly need to sustain harmony and balance when it's all said and done. So overall, twin flames are preordained or predetermined, and when they incarnate in physical life, the physical form won't always match up to what we think true love, or what a definition of what a true flame or twin flame coupling is. We all don't have twin flames, but we all have soulmates. And it's all there for our evolution, the development of consciousness, and so that we continue to be the co-creator, solar or spherical beings that we were created to be. Now, I could easily go further into this, but I think I've said enough. I may do a part 2 to this because it is so layered and complex, and that is the challenge that we have when we come into physical life. How do we take these multi-dimensional concepts, bring them down into a very limited biological form, and condense it and convey it and be provocative and trigger the memory in those of us who have forgotten in a way that is most universally understood. It's not an easy thing to do. So that's why I think I'm going to have to come back to this, because there's so much more to it. But that's laying the foundation. I hope you like it. And as always, continue to question, learn, and grow. All right? And I hadn't said this in a long time, but you know what? Happy travels.